morning, friends, or good afternoon if you're watching this after lunch, and happy Monday. I hope you had a great long weekend. Friday was a PA day for you, so we didn't have virtual school. And then, of course, we always have Saturday and Sunday off in the week. So I'm glad we're all back together. Today, we are going to celebrate the letter O. So we're going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about an animal that starts with the letter O. So before we do that, let's get started with a good morning song. Let's do Down, Right, Upright. So can you get your thumbs ready for it? All right, here we go. We're down, right, upright, in, right, out, right, happy all the time. We're down, right, upright, in, right, out, right, happy all the time. Since we came to Smith, we've made a lot of friends. So we're down, right, upright, in, right, out, right, happy all the time. Can we go faster? We're down, right, upright, in, right, out, right, happy all the time. We're down, right, upright, in, right, out, right, happy all the time. Since we came to Smith, we've made a lot of friends. So we're down, right, upright, in, right, out, right, happy all the time. Can you go supersonic fast? Let's see. We're down, right, upright, and right, out, right, happy all the time. We're down, right, upright, and right, out, right, happy all the time. Since we came to Smith, we've made a lot of friends. So we're down, right, upright, and right, out, right, happy all the time. Awesome. Okay, like I mentioned, we are doing the letter O today. And if you joined us in our live class this morning, we talked about the letter O and we practiced drawing it, but I think we should practice here too, because I know some of you only come to these meetings. So you need a piece of paper and a writing tool. And an O looks the same whether it's a capital or a lowercase, and it's just a circle shape. So a capital O is a little bit taller, okay, than a lowercase o. Oops. So that's the difference there. So that is an O. And so if you have a writing tool, you can practice making an O right now. If you don't, maybe you could just practice writing it in the air. Okay. And O, do you remember what sound it makes when we do all of our jolly phonics? It says ah, ah, ah. And an O can also say its own name, like all the vowels. So it can say O. So it can say ah, and it can say O. Those are the two sounds that an O makes. So before we read a story about an animal that starts with an O, I wanted to just review something that we talked about last week. This does not start with an O, but I hope you remember who this character is because we learned about him during our live class last Monday, so a week ago. And he is the greater gator. And he only eats greater numbers. And remember we talked about how the word greater is the same as the word bigger. So the greater gator only eats numbers that are the biggest numbers. And see how his mouth is open? That's how we do the symbol when we have two numbers. So let's just review this, just because I know some friends didn't come to that meeting and I want everybody to learn about the greater gator. So if I have two numbers like I do here, I have a 4 and a 7. So what number is greater? Remember, greater means bigger. So which one is bigger or greater? Okay, so it's the 7. 7 cookies is more than 4 cookies. Sorry, friends, I dropped my gator. There we go. So when we put greater gator, we make sure his mouth is open towards the biggest number. So he looks like this. He wants to eat the 7 because it's greater. Okay? Now, if we didn't have a greater gator with us, we can draw a greater gator on our paper. And let's just review how to do that. Do it in red so you can see it. His mouth is open to the bigger number. See, he's eating the bigger number. All right, let's do two different numbers. I'm going to show you these numbers. We've got an 11 and a 10. which number is greater? Would you rather have 11 pieces of candy or 10 pieces of candy? Which one is more or greater? Okay, so hopefully you know that 11 is greater. So if we had a greater gator like I do here, we would make him put his mouth towards the 11, right? He's chomping that greater number. But we often don't have a greater gator with us, so we can use a writing tool and we can draw him in, and his mouth is open to the biggest number. 11 is greater. Okay, let's do one more. I'm going to do another set of teen numbers. So we've got a 15 and a 20. Which one is greater? So hopefully you know that 20 is a greater number. It's bigger. So if we had our gator, there he goes. He's going to chomp that 20. If we don't have him, we can draw him. And we make his mouth open to 20. And this is actually a math symbol. It's called a greater than sign. But we just in kindergarten learn about greater gator. But that is a symbol that you're going to be learning in math as you get bigger. All right, good job with that. Okay, so now it's time for us to talk about an animal that starts with an O. And the animal I chose today was an owl. We also could have done an octopus. I didn't have an octopus book at home, so I chose my owl book. And this book is called Incredible Owls, and it's a non-fiction book because it's about something real, and it's going to teach us some facts about about owls. And when we're done reading this story, I've got some questions for you to answer. So I want you to really pay attention while I read and learn the facts about owls, and then when we're done, we'll look at some of the questions about them. Okay? All right, so Incredible Owls. Here's our table of contents. Remember, it tells us on each page what we're going to learn about. So chapter 1 is called What is an Owl? And that's on page 4. Chapter 2 is Owl Life on page 8. And chapter 3 is Baby Owls on page 12. Chapter 1, What is an Owl? Owls are incredible. This book will tell you all about these very special birds. There are more than 200 kinds of owls. They live all over the world. The snowy owl lives in the chilly Arctic. Owls have huge eyes. This helps them to see really well at night. Owls have great hearing. They can even hear a mouse squeak half a mile away. So friends, think about that. A mouse has a very soft squeaking sound, and a half a mile is a pretty long way, so their ears are really good. Let's learn in this little information box, let's learn what the author wanted to teach us about owls. It says, fun fact, owls can turn their heads 3/4 of the way around. So friends, we cannot turn our head all the way backwards. Our neck, our spine would not allow that, but owls' heads turn almost all the way around, not quite, but they can turn and look behind them just by spinning their neck around without moving their bodies, just their head, and that's something that humans cannot do. All right, and then we have some information arrows. See those arrows? So they're pointing to the top of the ear, and it says, these look like ears, but they're just feathers. If you look really closely, those are just feathers up there. It says, an owl's ears are hidden on the side of its head. All right, so when we look at an owl, we would think, oh, these are his ears, because most of the time when we see an animal with like tall, pointy things sticking up, we know it's their ears, but that's not true for an owl. These sticky up parts are just feathers. Their ears are right here on the side of their heads. So that's an interesting owl fact. Chapter 2, Owl Life. Most owls rest during the day. Some sleep in old barns, others snooze in the holes in trees or cactuses. Many owls wake up at night and call out to other owls. Some say hoo, hoo, others screech or sing. This information box says owls are nocturnal in animals. That means they're active at night. Owls have very fluffy wings. This makes them silent flyers and helps them sneak up on their prey. So then this information box says, up close, an owl's feathers look like this. Let's see if I can show you what that looks like up close. And then it says, what do owls like to eat? Some eat bugs or lizards or frogs. Others munch snakes or rabbits or mice. Owls catch food with their sharp claws. So I'm going to show you that close-up picture. Hopefully you can see how sharp their claws are. Chapter 3, Baby Owls. Most owls have babies in the spring. Many owls don't build their own nests. Instead, they move into nests left behind by other birds. Mother owls lay eggs. Then they sit on the eggs and wait and wait. It takes about a month for most owl babies to hatch. Most owl mothers lay 1 to 12 eggs. Owl eggs look like this. Baby owls use their little beaks to break out of eggs. Peck, peck, peck. Here they come. It says baby owls are called owlets. So that's a picture of an owlet. A mother owl takes good care of her owlets. She brings them food. She teaches them how to survive and communicate. Hoo, hoo. And here is a fun fact. It says some owls can live to be 30 years old or more. And then at the end of the book, just like all of these books that we read, there is the glossary. Do you remember what a glossary means? It means it's like a little dictionary. So if you're not sure what a word means, you can go to the back of a nonfiction book and look in the glossary. So let's say in there, there's the word owlet. So if you didn't know what an owlet is, it's a baby owl. All right. So now that I've read this book, let's see if you remember some of the information from the book. And this is called comprehension. And that's remembering what happens in the story. And that's a very, very important part of reading. So I have got 4 questions that we can answer together. So it says, what word describes an owl's eyes? So would you say, or did the book tell us that an owl's eyes were huge or were they tiny? Do you remember what they said in the story? Hopefully you remember that they said they're really huge. That's the word that the author used. And remember they said that they were big because they stay up in the night, they're nocturnal, and they can see things. Okay, what does an owl eat? So I've got 4 options. 2 of these are right. Do they eat snakes, dogs, cows, or mice? So think about what the story taught us. So let's go one at a time. So did they say owls eat snakes? Yes, they did. Some owls eat snakes. Okay. Did they say that owls eat dogs? No, they don't eat dogs. So we can cross that one out. Okay. Do owls eat cows? No, they do not. And do owls eat mice? Yes, they do. So we'll circle that one. All right. Number 3. Do owls build their own nests? Yes or no? So it wasn't every owl, but do you remember what they taught us, the author taught us about owls and nests? Do they build their own? The answer was no. The author taught us that most of the time owls find nests that were already made by other birds, and they might have had their eggs in the nest and the birds had flown off and the babies, and so it's just an empty nest, and those are the nests that usually owls will use. If they had to, they could build their own, but they like to use other birds' nests. All right, the last question, number 4, says, what is a baby owl called? Is it called a joey, an owlet, or a calf? Do you remember? So we learned that a joey is a baby koala, and then there's an owlet and a calf. And do you remember which one they said an owl baby is called? Hopefully you remember that that's the owlet. So we're going to circle owlet because that is the name of a baby owl. Okay, so before we go today, I have a couple owl poems for us to do. So the first one is called Two Little Owls, and I'm going to put up 2 fingers, so you can do that too if you'd like. So it goes like this. 2 little owls sitting in a tree. One hoots at you, and one hoots at me. They sit and they watch us all night long. Is their favorite song. And the book talked about that, how owls say, hoo, right? All right, the next one is called The Wide-Eyed Owl. So there's a wide-eyed owl, do this with your hands, make your eyes like a big circle like the owls, with a pointed nose. Can you make your nose kind of pointed? 2 pointed ears, and claws for toes. And the book taught us about those really sharp claws. He lives way up in the tree, point way up in the tree. And when he looks at you, he flaps his wings and says, hoo, hoo, hoo. Let's do that one more time now that you've got the hang of it. There's a wide-eyed owl with the pointed nose, 2 pointed ears, and claws for toes. He lives way up in the tree, and when he looks at you, he flaps his wings and says, hoo, hoo. There we go. All right, friends, I think our time is up for our circle time. I want to remind you that Miss G has put some science activities on our D2L page for you today. So go ahead and click on those when you're done with this circle time video. And we will see you again tomorrow. Today is Monday, so tomorrow is Tuesday. Let's sing our goodbye song. See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Be sweet, parakeet, give a hug, ladybug. See you soon, raccoon, out the door, dinosaur. Take care, polar bear, blow a kiss, goldfish. Bye everyone, see you tomorrow.